Today, we welcome back ABR staff member and archaeologist Brian Wendell to do his annual top 10 discoveries from this past year.
Number 10 is the ancient necropolis that was unearthed at Colossae. And so preliminary evidence suggests that these tombs are about 2,200 years old. And so this discovery is going to be important. It's going to shed a whole lot of light on what life was like for the ancient Colossians. And of course, Colossae is important to those of us who study the Bible because the Apostle Paul wrote a letter to the church that was at Colossae.
Now, you have number 9 is the tomb of Tutmosis II. This is really fascinating.
This was the last missing tomb of an 18th dynasty pharaoh. And for those of us who study biblical chronology, the 18th dynasty is hugely important because that's the era of the Exodus and the conquest in that period.
Okay, the next one is number 8 is a Moabite inscription. Tell us about this inscription found at Jericho.
Lorenzo Negro, the dig director at Tellus Sultan, which is Old Testament Jericho, recently published his interim report on the excavations from 2019 to 2023. And one of the important discoveries that was highlighted in it was an ostracon. And in this case, it had a Moabite inscription containing what he says is a dialect that is the same or similar to that on the famous Mesha stela, the Moabite stone, the Mesha inscription. And that has led the excavators to conclude that Jericho was likely under Moabite control at that time. Now, it just shows us that when the Bible talks about the Moabites controlling Jericho, they did at certain times in history. Sure, my choice for number 7 was a structure on the eastern slope of the city of David that was identified as a place of worship. And so the structure consists of a number of rock-hewn rooms. There are 8 of them. ABR archaeologist, our excavation dig director, Scott Stripling, has looked at these findings, and he believes that this may have been the location where King David set up the tabernacle to house the Ark of the Covenant. And the Bible indicates that David set up the tabernacle just above the Gihon Spring, and that is where this structure is located. Choice for number 6 was excavations that were done at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where they discovered traces of an ancient garden. They are renovating some of the top floor tiles, which when they pull them up gives them an opportunity to excavate under these floor tiles. And what they discovered the remains of olive trees and grapevines, and they believe they come from a strata that is pre-Christian. And so that's important. What that tells us is that this particular area likely was a garden before a church ever went up. And that's important because in John chapter 19, we read that the place where Jesus was buried had a garden. Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden. And this particular bula was dated paleographically based on the writing to the 7th or 6th century BC, and it reads, belonging to Yediah, son of Asayahu. Now, a man named Asayahu, who served King Josiah, is mentioned in a couple of places in the Bible, in 2 Kings 22:12 and in 2 Chronicles 34:20. Yeah, so number 4, for the very first time, they found evidence of an Egyptian army at Megiddo that dates to the time when the Egyptian army defeated King Josiah. And so archaeologists working at Megiddo recently announced that they had found this assemblage of Egyptian pottery and Greek pottery that dates to the 7th century BC. We read about that in 2 Kings 23, verses 29 to 30. Number 3 is this new study that proposes an earlier date for some of the Dead Sea Scrolls. A third of the Dead Sea Scroll manuscripts that were tested seem to be composed earlier than it was originally thought. But the one that really is interesting to me is manuscript 4Q114, and it's a manuscript of Daniel, which dates to 230 to 160 BC. This was hugely important, this study, to show that many of the manuscripts are actually earlier than we previously thought they were. Yeah, number 2 was the discovery of a huge dam wall from the time of King Joash that was unearthed at the Pool of Siloam, dating sometime between 805 BC and 795 BC during the reign of King Joash. What's interesting is that the Bible does note that King Joash engaged in massive building endeavors.
Please tell us about your number one discovery for 2025.
This is a fragment of an Assyrian cuneiform inscription. And so the Israel Antiquities Authority announced this discovery. It was discovered in Jerusalem. It's believed to be a request from the king of Assyria to the king of Judah for tribute. And this is the first Assyrian inscription of substance from the First Temple period yet discovered in Jerusalem. Not the first one period. There have been other partial tablets that are hard to read and little lines here and there, but this is the first one of substance, saying to him, "Dear King of Judah, send the tribute quickly by the 1st of Av, and if not, the consequences will be severe." We're told that Hezekiah rebelled against the king of Assyria and did not serve him. That means he did not pay his tribute. He withheld the tribute. And I always say, isn't it interesting? We have a description of the Bible, and now we have a similar description from archaeology.